Look at how much this thing is selling for. $367 and for some reason 2 cents. Can you believe that? In today's video, I'm gonna show you 3 trending builds that you can build to sell or you can build as gifts because Christmas is like 8 weeks away. Santa's coming. And who can afford to buy Christmas gifts this year? Am I right? Bro, bitch! Or you can build it for yourself if you're a selfish jerk like me. I'm not judging you.
Please don't judge me.
You don't want to miss the last build that I built for less than $20. That's like the price of a Big Mac meal at McDonald's nowadays.
$20? Are you crazy?
And it's selling for more than $300. That's like the price of 2 bags of groceries.
Oh, everything's too damn expensive these days.
Sorry I'm speaking fat knees for all my fellow chubsters out there watching my videos and sweating, just sitting on the couch. We're fat, we're fat, we're fat. Enough talk, let's get to building. I got this scrap piece of 2x8 from when I built my living room end table. And I'm gonna see if I can cut a circle into it with a jigsaw. Never done it before, nothing this thick, but I'm gonna give it a try, see what I can do. I think this was actually a 2x10 that I cut the sides off of because it's about 9 inches wide. So I actually just cut it into a 9" by 9" square. Then I just used a ruler to find the center and I just made a line from one corner to the other. Then I used a compass and I just made a circle like I was in 5th grade math. Sometimes people ask me what blades I'm using, so I'm using this Diablo. It's fast and clean, it's a wood blade. I must not have locked the blade in right because on my first attempt, it just fell right out of the saw. A lot of people suggested to me before to use those little skinny jigsaw blades. They're supposed to be easier for going around corners and maneuvering around stuff. But in my experience, the last time I used one, it kept bending and warping on me. Let me know in the comments if you guys have had a similar experience with those. Or maybe they were good for you. It could be just I have this hulking strength. Later on in the video, you guys will get to see the weights I work out with. Not bad at all. There's a few spots I kind of got a lip on it, but not bad at all. I mean, it's a nice circle. Couple waves in it, nothing I can't fix on the Turd Polisher 2000. Let's give it a try. It's finally below 100 degrees here in Las Vegas, so I get to open my garage door and let in some fresh air and sunlight.
Damn, he's fat. Look how fat that guy is.
I'm just squaring this ledge to the belt so that I can lean the wheel on there and get a good 90 on there. This actually worked pretty good for squaring up the edge and getting a little 90 on there, getting all the humps out. It would have been nice to have a little bit more of a surface to sit it on because it's a little unstable, just this little lip they give you. I want to get one of those other types of benchtop sanders, and I'm thinking about getting this Wen one. If anybody's used it, let me know in the comments if you think it's good. If not, whoever has one of these, let me know what brands are good. I'm going to use these benchtop cookies to hold this in place while I give it a round over with my router instead of clamping it. That should hold in place. Let me lock my... Yeah, that should be pretty good. I'll leave a link for these down in the description. They work really good for stuff like this. I'm just gonna clean it up a little with a little bit of 150 grit sandpaper. Smooth out that edge. Okay, so my circle wheel, whatever you wanna call it, cheese wheel, I forget what I said I was gonna call it earlier, is done. And you know I like to give you guys some options. So this is I believe a newel post it's called. I got it from Lowe's, I believe, or Home Depot. And you could do like a circle on the bottom if you want. It has this screw-in thing if you don't think this is wide enough to hold it. And it will screw into that circle. This is you could do a second bottom circle, I should say. And then you would put this on top like that. Bam, there's one way you can do this. These are candlestick holders. And I've used these before for some tiered trays that I made. And I put a 3/8 dowel in the bottom of the tray top and then slid it into the hole. You can glue it in there to make it more permanent. If you don't think that base is sturdy enough, you can also use another one of these circles and make it a little wider. You can make it wider, whatever you want. You can. This circle is a scrap circle from a hole saw. And last but not least, which is what I'm going to use, are these little feet. I got these off of Amazon. I got a whole bag of them. And you can use these with some dowels and put it like that. And it's just going to lift you off about 1 inch off the ground. I don't have any fancy foolproof way to lay out the feet on this circle. If anybody does, maybe give us some advice in the comments. So what I did was I just cut out a square out of a 1x6, a perfect square. And then I'm figuring the feet would look good about here on the circle. So I'm just going to mark a line on this side. I got it as centered in here as I can just by eyeballing it. I'm going to put some marks on both sides right here, Right here, right here. Then when I take away the square, I got some lines to reference. Okay, so I got my 3/8 drill bit and I got my center helper, whatever you call this thing, drill guide, drill block. Now I put a little glue in each hole, use a Q-tip. I used to save money by using used Q-tips, but the wax used to interfere with the glue. So try to use new Q-tips if you can afford it. I really like these small projects. I like doing the big ones too, but I like these small ones because there's so much stress going on right now in the world, and these are just so relaxing. Cut these things slightly too long. You see that? Try to fix it before the glue dries. I just knocked a hair off each peg using my sander, and then I did the same thing holding the wheel up there. Then everything fit great, but I wasn't out of the woods yet. When you don't use the fluted dowels, sometimes the air gets trapped behind the dowel, and when you try to push it in, it won't budge. So sometimes you got to use a little bit of force to get the air out of there. That's why it was wobbling before, but now it's good. Okay, so now until the glue dries, I'm just gonna put these weights on top of it to hold it down. I don't wanna brag, but this is what I work out with. I can curl each one about 8 times. Not all at once, but you know, just in case you thought I was all fat. Oh, sorry, Great Yankee Workshop. Okay, so now that I flipped my underwear inside out and the glue is dried, it's time for some stain, and not just in my man panties. Okay, so I'm using a Behr oil-based stain. The color is espresso. I wanted to do it the Provincial that I normally use, but I didn't have any left, so I used this. This is pretty close. And besides that, I'm trying to get out of the habit of wanting everything in my house to be the same stain color. There's so many different stain colors I like, so I'm just gonna mix it up and see how it goes. Normally I use a matte finish clear coat on everything because I just like the matte finish better than the shiny, especially when you're doing more of a rustic look. But I got this on clearance, this satin finish polyurethane at Walmart. It was half off. So I wanted to give it a try. We'll see, maybe I'll like the satin look. And if not, I can always sand it down. And you don't have to sand it all the way down. You got to sand between coats anyways. Just do your normal sand between coats and then switch to your matte finish. The only problem is, I hope this doesn't cause problems. This is oil-based, and the only matte finish I could ever find is only in water-based. So I always use a water-based clear coat. So we'll see. Let's give it a try. After I said that I can't find an oil-based matte finish, I actually Googled it, and Behr came up with an oil-based matte finish, the same Behr that I use in the water-based matte finish. So I'm gonna get some from Home Depot and give it a try, let you guys know. And bam, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Did it come out good? Now I just gotta build a bigger one to put my wife on. Okay, so our next project is a wall sconce. These are always popular and they always sell really well. Okay, for my next project, you're gonna need some 1x6. You're gonna need a 16-inch piece of 1x6 and a 5.5-inch piece of 1x6. And the reason 5.5 inches is because it makes it a nice little square. I'm gonna sand mine down to finish before I even put it together because it's just so much easier. I'm gonna use my table saw to cut a decorative groove into my 1x6. And I'm gonna do it about 1/16 inch deep. So it's just like a little decorative line in it, basically. And I'm gonna use this 1x2 as a spacer. If you don't have a 1x2, it's just about 1.5 inches. Nobody's got any gripper money in this house, so I'm using the patent pending welfare grabber. Now this was nothing fancy. I just ran it through, flipped it over, ran it through on the other side, so the lines were evenly spaced. That's it, simple. Check out this buffoonery. I had this piece and it had a little knot in it, right? And I was like, nah, I don't want to have a knot in my stuff. So I cut it at that knot to get rid of it. And that's what it left me with, right? Look at that. A huge knot. Okay, so on the end, you're gonna measure down 1 inch. I'm gonna use my speed square. It has a little groove at 1 inch already. And I'm gonna make a line. And I'm gonna measure down this side 1 inch, make a line. And then I'm gonna cut this out. This is all decorative. So all this decorative stuff is optional, but that's what it's all about, right? I'm always saying in my videos, you could do this with a handsaw. So that's what I'm gonna attempt to do. I'm not gonna attempt. I'm gonna cut it with a handsaw. If I can't cut this with a handsaw, this is gonna be a knitting channel next week. This would have been much easier if I had the proper clamp. If I had one of those clamps that are on the front of your bench. I can't even do that on this bench because I ran the plywood over so I'd have something to clamp to. But I need to really make myself a new workbench with the dog holes and all that, so it's easier to do this stuff. But so many channels have done workbenches before. Would you guys want to see me build a workbench? I mean, I don't think anybody can mess it up like I do. So I won't build the best workbench, but there's a chance I'll break wind and maybe have a mental breakdown and quit YouTube. So you never know. At least it'd be entertaining. So I got cocky on my last cut and it went off a little. I would use a chisel to fix that, but all I got is these Blue Light Special chisels. Who remembers the Blue Light Specials? And these chisels couldn't scrape the burnt part off of toast. Is this a bad spot to put my hand? I just realized I should have probably not put my hand there. Anyways, all this just to say I need to up my chisel game and learn how to sharpen them and get some nice chisels and really be a good woodworker. Oh, I've really put my thumb in a bad spot. I'm going to get off of here before you guys unsubscribe. Maybe I should stick to sandpaper. It's a lot safer. Okay, so my shelf's going to sit about 4 inches from the bottom. So I need to make a little line for where the bottom of the shelf is going to go at 4 inches up. Okay, so I want to cut a dado into this back to receive the shelf. So I'm using this 1x2 and some scrap wood to make a temporary jig to make a dado the same thickness as my shelf. One day I want to make a permanent adjustable jig that does the same thing, but you can reuse it. I'm using this white side pattern bit for my router. I'll leave a link for it down in the description. I did this last time I made. You see how that looks good, right? Gonna make my groove, but I keep using 3/4 inch material. Watch. That's as deep as this bit can get when I use 3/4 inch material for my jig. I gotta stop doing that. Okay, luckily I have another bit. This one's 1 inch, so I don't use it that much because it's pretty deep. But with the 3/4 inch material, this will only get me in there 1/4 inch, so that's pretty good. I don't know if anybody else caught what I just said, but not only was 3/4 material completely wrong, my measurements were completely wrong. The bit is only 1 inch, but the bearing itself adds another 1/4 inch at least on there. So I'm trying to dip into this material a whole 1/2 inch at a time, and it didn't like that very much. Here's me realizing what I did wrong and, you know, thinking knitting isn't such a bad idea.
Holy knit one, pearl two.
So I decided to just do what I did when I sharted at the movie theater last week and just make the best of a crappy situation. All right, guys, let's see how bad I messed this thing up. It's not as rough as I thought, at least not on the top. So it's actually a pretty good tight fit. I mean, there are some issues, but for the most part, I think it was successful. Let me show you. So on the top, it's not too bad. There's a gap like I thought there would be. Not bad. Nobody's going to really notice that, especially when I stain it dark. On the bottom, it kind of got chewed up a little because the 1x2 I was using was a little bit twisted. So when it was riding along the edge, it was cutting into the 1x2 and this at the same time. So I didn't have it clamped down good enough on the one end. So, well, you live, you learn. And then I got that little bit of a chunk missing right there too. This one end was kind of bad, but other than that, not too bad. What do you guys think? So I'm just going to put a little glue and then pin nail it through the back. If you don't have a pin nailer, the glue would be strong enough, plenty strong enough, unless you're going to put like a 50-pound candle on this thing. So the stain I'm using is a Minwax Classic. It's called True Black. I really like this stain. It looks really good. It's very forgiving on pine. It doesn't get blotchy. When you first put it on, it looks really dark, like you just blacked out the whole thing. But over a few minutes after you wipe it off, it starts to lighten. It looks really good. There you go. What do you guys think? I had this idea when I was cutting the grooves that I should have cut them after I stained. And I thought, maybe I could pull it off. I wasn't sure if I could. That's why I didn't say anything. But I wanted to try to stain it without getting any stain in the grooves. And I think I did a pretty good job. There's one spot, I don't know if you can see it, down right here where I kind of went into the groove a little bit. So, but other than that, I think it looked pretty good. I wanted to try it even if I messed it up so I could see what it looked like. Do you guys like it like that with like a pinstripe? Or do you think it'd be better if it was just all solid, whatever color? Let me know in the comments which one you guys think would look better. I'm going to ask my wife. She has better taste than I do and see what she thinks. But yeah, I kind of like it. I like the little stripe look. Okay, so for this one, I'm using the Behr matte finish polyurethane. That was this, not me. Okay, so I've said this before, but when I'm using a black stain, I like to put my polyurethane in a separate container. Well, actually, any of these darker stains, because it'll taint the whole can if you're putting a brush in and out. You don't have to watch me clear coat this whole thing. I just want to say I like the water-based clear coat much better than the oil. It goes on much smoother. It's not as thick of a consistency, so I don't get all the air bubbles I always get when I'm using a brush-on oil-based. If anybody has any tips for how to use the oil-based brush on and brush it on without spraying it, without getting the air bubbles? Let me know in the comments. Maybe it'll help somebody else out too. All right, our wall sconce is all clear coated. It looks pretty good, if I do say so myself. But one thing I just realized I forgot to do was I forgot to put something on the back to hang it with. So I'm gonna add one of these. If you have fingers like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, then use some needle nose pliers to hold your nails. I don't know if I'm gonna, look at this. What am I doing here? Even my 2x4s are cupped. This is ridiculous. Who thinks this is gonna work? If you think this is not gonna work, subscribe to my channel. This is definitely a Benny Hill music moment. I need to order something that uses a screw instead of a nail. Bam! What do you think? This is not a real candle. This is a fake candle. Looks real though. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. No, I'm not a slob. This is fake cobwebs over here. What if it wasn't? We're decorated for Halloween. Here's another video I did later that night when it was getting a little bit darker, so you guys can really see the candle glow and see how good it looks. And then here's another one at night you could put in your bedroom. You want to get a little romantic with your wife, throw on some 2 Live Crew, whatever you're into. Okay, this last project is the easiest, simplest, but the most lucrative. All you need is a 4-foot 1x4 and 2 20 3/4 inch 2x2s. Not everybody has 2x2s laying around, so you can always take a regular 2x4 and cut it down. That's probably your best bet, because finding these straight in the big box stores is really hard. So this 1x4 was really rough, so I started with an 80 grit, then I went to a 100 grit, and then finished it off with a 120. I've got to hang this thing on the wall, and it's got to be flush with the wall. So one way to do that is with a keyhole slot on the back. I'm sure you've seen those on things. I'll show an example of it right now. If you're gonna make stuff out of wood to sell, whether it be on Etsy or craft fairs or whatever, you're gonna need to make little jigs so you can batch produce things and make it go quicker. So that's what I did here. I made this little jig so I can slide my 2x2 into it like that, place the bit into here. I would plunge cut it, slide it up, and then slide it back, and then pull it out. And so this is my first time using the bit. This is my first time using the jig. We're going to try it out and see how it works. These Ryobi bits I have are cheap and kind of old. I don't use them that often because they cut really rough. And this was no different. Seems like it's straining to cut, but it could be because the shaft is filling up with sawdust and it has nowhere to go. I feel like that worked really good. See, there you go. Keyhole slot. Okay, so this jig worked pretty good. The only issues with this fills up with sawdust like right away, and then it stops it from sliding all the way this way. And it also, I think that's why my first cut was so rough. So I think I would have to like add some grooves to this or chamfer the bottom of this all the way around. So just so the sawdust has somewhere to go and it doesn't get trapped in here. And then also I did it I did it in 2 passes because the sawdust also gets trapped in the hole with it. So I vacuumed out the hole, and now I'm gonna do my second pass, and that comes out much cleaner. Okay, you guys wanna play Name That Idiot? Because I just pulled a Jasco. Those are the 2x2s. This is how it's gonna be attached to the 1x4. You see the channel I made for this side? It's upside down. One of them's upside down. I should have, when I was sticking them in the jig, flipped one of them the other way. I put them both in the same way, and that's what I'm left with. Okay, so now I'm just marking the centers on the ends of my 1x2s, and then I'm marking the center and where I want the 1x2 to stop on the back of my 1x4. This way it's just easy to line everything up and then clamp it and screw it together. Then I just need to attach it with some screws through the back of the 2x2s. Okay, for this one I'm using the Behr oil-based wood stain again, and the color is espresso. And I have to say, this came out great. I was really happy with the way this piece of wood took the stain. Really happy with the way the wood grain looked in this. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, but you can see right there, it is beautiful.
It looks good.
You don't think it looks too blotchy?
No, the only spot's like right there, but that's because the wood's rough. Babe, I don't think anybody's going to think it looks blotchy. What do you mean blotchy? I don't even know what blotchy for this means.
No, I'm kidding. It looks good.
Get out of here!
And then I topped it off with the same water-based poly that I used on the last project. Behr is the brand again. And then if you guys notice, I always use a stiff foam brush because you see how I'm using this regular bristle brush and it'll kind of wrap around the edges of whatever you're doing. So if you clear coat the top and then you go back to clear coat the sides or vice versa, it'll wrap around the edge where the stiff foam doesn't do that. But when I was using the stiff foam brush on my wooden pedestal in the oil-based clear coat, it seemed to leave a lot of bubbles. So I don't know if that was because of the stiff foam brush or if it's just the way oil-based stain is because it's a lot thicker than the water-based stain. Okay, now that our clear coat's dry, it's time to finish this up by installing our light. You're probably thinking, this guy made a piece of wood that you hang on the wall? How stupid is that? No, there's a light that goes on the back. Let me show you. It's right here. Got this for $9 on Amazon. Left a little spot for this to fit. This is the little box that holds the batteries and also where the button is to turn it on and off. That's one of the reasons I used a 2x2 instead of a 1x2. So you had enough clearance behind it where you can get your finger back there and turn the button on and off. And it also will work with a remote that I don't know if it'll work yet because it's going to be facing the wall. So I don't know if the remote's going to be able to fix it. I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get the screw in. You see the screwdriver riding on the 2x2. And then I finally realized, oh, your screwdriver's not going deep enough. So these lights are just peel and stick like the nipple pasties I wear to my night job. The lights come in a 10-foot length, and the light bar, that's what I'm going to call this thing that I made, it is only 4 foot. So if I wrap it around it, that's 8 foot. Now if I take off my shoes so I can use my toes to count, that means I'm going to have 2 foot left over. And luckily, these lights can be cut so I don't have to overlap them, because I don't think you'd want to overlap it. You'd have one spot that was brighter than the other. So I have this area in my house. It's supposed to be a loft. It's basically just a hallway. That's the size of it anyways. And we just have a desk in there and then a reading chair that my wife was going to read in, but it's been 4 years and she's never read in it. Hashtag blessed. Then for some reason, we just have a random pool noodle in the corner. Now I say all this because that's where I'm hanging this light, in hopes that it'll set the right ambiance, did I say that right? Ambiance for my wife to read in. And bam! Now, of course, it's the brightest part of the day in this room right now, so it's kind of hard to get a good feel for it. So let's come back and see what it looks like at night. Now, all I have is one little light on in the hallway, and the rest is from this light. Are you guys ready to see what this light is selling for? Let me show you one more thing. Here's the light one more time, but now all the lights are off. Look at how cool this looks. I am really impressed with how easy this was to make and how cool it looks. Imagine this in the bedroom above the dresser, setting the romanticism. Look at how much this thing is selling for. $367 and for some reason 2 cents. Can you believe that? And it's in 7 carts. That means people are interested in this thing. Oh yeah, the remote did work in case you were wondering.